Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anime Gaiden. I'm Steven.
I'm Christina.
Today, we are going to cover Lord of Mysteries, the first 10 episodes of My Dress Up Darling Season 2, Episode 1 through 8. Again, I can't stress it enough. We're telling you the season and the episode so that way you don't get spoiled, because we are going to talk about spoilers. This is a review of what we've watched thus far. So just be prepared and be ready for that. And without further ado, we are going to jump straight into Lord of Mysteries. Believe it or not, very tentative to start a new anime. Wow, okay.
Sorry, not an anime we watching this.
Yeah, I watch a lot of anime, but I watch a lot of background anime, whereas when we're watching this, it's like, okay, I'm actually paying attention, especially when we're talking dub. Usually, a lot of the anime I watch is in dub because I'm watching things that I honestly am not invested in, so I'm not going to be sitting there reading. I'm not paying attention. So I was pleasantly surprised. Lord of Mysteries, it sounded kind of interesting, a little bit out there, not normally what I'd watch. I'm not super into the Tim Burton-y, gothic, Victorian, all this kind of stuff. That's not really my vibe. I've never really dug into it. I know you love Penny Dreadful.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I feel like this is a very similar vibe.
It is.
I've never seen it, but
Yeah, it's very similar. If I had to mod a modernish TV show, I would probably say it's quite comparable to a Penny Dreadful, because it has the horror aspect to it, and you kind of are looking for those monsters and
yeah, it's Lovecraftian, right?
Yes,
It's very interesting that way. But again, not really normally my cup of tea, and I was so pleasantly surprised. First, I just want to say the animation. I know people are going to be contentious. Everyone always has what they love and hate about animation. I think it's fantastic. It's very cinematic. They really hit you early on with the 3D animations of the rat traveling through the ceiling and stuff like that. It was fantastic. They did try to drop off on that stuff pretty quick, so maybe they're just trying to show off at the start. Oh, and I should mention this for everyone who doesn't already know, this is a Chinese animation, not a Japanese animation show, which I'm sure with China and Korea developing more anime, we're gonna dig even deeper into that good old debate of what is anime. Is it just Japanese animation, or is it animation as a whole, or is it animation that is inspired and done in the stylings of Japanese animation? There's a whole debate. That'll probably be something at one time, but that'll have to be a round circle with 10 of us. Just so you all know, I'm gonna get heated. You have not seen me in a debate. You do not want to see me in a debate. No. It's different. So with that being said, I really like the characters. I really like everything that's happening so far, but I do have some fun points. What are your thoughts before we go into that?
I mean, the first thing that I did notice was the animation style. It's, like you said, it's very cinematic. When you watch it, just feel like you're watching a movie versus a 30-minute episode. I think it's very beautiful, the colors and the style.
You mentioned something interesting there, which was the 30-minute episode, because that is also something that's different, right? And I don't know if that's just streaming services do that nowadays, where it's you don't have a set. And I kind of like it because, you end up with less fluff and less BS. You end up with episodes, classically, you end up with episodes getting cut short, or it's these random cliffhangers that almost don't even make sense. They're not even true cliffhangers. They just kind of stop the episode mid-event because they have to, because they ran out of runtime. So you don't end up with that anymore. You also don't end up with them trying to fill out an hour or a 45-minute or whatever with anime 20, 25 minutes. So I don't know if that's why they're doing this, or if it's just the Chinese animation industry is coming up and they're we're going to be the underdogs here. Let's do something different. So I really don't know.
No, I like it because it doesn't feel oh, how long is this episode? It's the episode's still going. It doesn't feel like it's running on for too long.
Yeah, you could run the episode
as long as it needs to. Yeah, no, I agree. I like how they're running it. Again, the animation's beautiful. I say that with the story itself.
Yeah, that I figured I'd let you get into that to start off.
I find it's a little confusing. It does a good job of kind of you get into it and you kind of have a general idea of what's going on, but then also you don't know what's going on. I find myself every time I'm going to watch it, I'm very confused.
There's a few new anime we've been delving into with the summer season, and albeit we've had a terrible recording schedule in the sense that we just haven't been. I'd have to say this is definitely my favorite new anime that I'm watching right now. There are other good ones, like the one I can never pronounce, and I'll figure it out by the time we do the episode, but I'm not going to butcher it now, so ha ha ha. Anyway, so, yeah, it's also very good, whatever anime that is. Lord of Mysteries is the one that, it's kind of weird. I almost don't go to watch an episode. I'm never being oh, I really want to see that next episode.
Yeah.
But at the same time, every time I watch an episode, I'm completely there, and I'm completely in it, and I'm oh, okay, what's going on? With that being said, I have no fucking idea what's going on.
I know, I'm so confused.
We have a note here to talk about the occult world building and the pacing, and we will, because honestly I think the pacing's actually fantastic.
Yeah.
In the sense that there's, and again I think that comes to the episode runtime too, with it episodes running as long as they need to. You always have an event happening, and even if the entire event doesn't get finished, enough is concluded by the end of an episode that you feel the story has moved on to some degree.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I love this show. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. And I don't know if it's just them fucking with us because they're called Lord of Mysteries. So they're just like, haha, ambiguous. Like, I
I
don't.
mean, that's the whole point. Is
I-
that say, like, do you actually know what's going on?
And,
What?
and I haven't watched enough Chinese animation to be like, do they got this sense of humor or are they just fucking with me right now? I don't know. The first thing they bring in is the last thing I'm going to mention simply because you forget it. And I feel like they intentionally make you forget.
Yeah.
You have, the tarot cards having significant meaning. You have the Beyonder power tree path. I think that is such a cool power system. And to hit the ground running with such a big anime and have such a unique and cool and intrinsic power system, I do see the potential for its absurdly over complex. You almost need to, because there really isn't a new power system you're going to come up with that isn't complex at this point. To a degree, right? Or it's been done. I really like this one, using the potions to level up. They have to digest it. They have to play the part of whatever they are. So like Klein, the main character, he's a seer. So he finds out that to get more seer power, to get stronger, he has to play the part of whatever that means to him. Maybe be stereotypical in that sense. And then, he gets the clown potion. So I've noticed in the last episode or two since he's taken it, he starts laughing a little bit more, being a little bit more silly or a bit more showy in the things he does. He picked the tarot cards, taking after the other clown guy that he saw. So there's all these things that are happening. I think that's super cool. We have all these deities that we know absolutely butthole about.
No, we know nothing.
We have all these cults. I'm pretty sure there's 200 or something in passing. There's like, oh, here's the main ones, but there's over 200. What the fuck? Or even that there's 30 in the last 200 years or something. We have that fucking smoke realm where he's apparently a deity or
Dream state almost.
it's a different realm in which he's in control, and they don't really go into it, but there's passing comments that he makes where it's talking about how he's taking advantage of a deity, right? Like he's using the powers of a deity essentially in that realm to do X, Y, and Z. But it's like, how'd you get there in the first place? How the hell did these other two come here? Was it just because they're praying and something like what happened
Well,
here
that's why
in terms of Justice and the Hangman? I want to see what's happening with Justice and the Hangman. Like I want to see them outside of that realm.
Were they in the real world?
I did.
To Klein in real life, or are they just from other worlds?
They showed that pirate admiral boot on the bro. That wasn't some best dragon looking guy.
The news guy chose like the side. I thought it was interesting though, that, like just to go back to your point, like when Klein chose to be a seer, like I thought that was an interesting and different dynamic, in that he got to choose which path he wanted to follow.
You
If I'm remembering this
mean
correctly.
different from other anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like even if you look
It
at
happens
like
sometimes, but not normal.
even if you look at other series like Harry Potter, you don't really get to choose which house you're put in.
I mean,
or
he did.
Divergent, you didn't really get. I know they're the outliers, right? The outliers I get to choose. But for this, you could go in and be like, here's your 7 different categories of paths that you can take, and which one do you want? And then you can kind of choose.
Yeah, it's very unique in that sense and how it functions. It's just like they're just throwing so much at us right now, and like nothing's really getting explained. And I'm like, what the hell is even going on?
They'll say it for like 2 seconds, and then you'll like not come back to it for another 4 episodes or something. And it's just a passing comment.
It's just like throwing more and more and more and more and more and more. And I'm like, damn. So like our notes here are saying, how effectively do the first 10 episodes balance dense lore? And honestly, not very effectively. It's kind of just like an info dump. Like it's just constantly
in like
coming.
really small snippets. It's not like it's just the first episode's just like everything is outlined to you. It's just like you get small pieces and you got together.
I feel like there's certain parts that you just haven't caught, because there are definitely times where it's like the power system, they lay it out right away. Literally the intro is laying out the power system.
Okay, I'll say it's not dubbed. I have to read subtitles. And 9 times out of 10 when we're watching this, I have our babies. So I'm distracted. How dare I not understand Chinese? I'm sorry, guys.
But I do think it's really good. I don't know how accessible it is to newcomers just because it is so dense, so much going on. There's a lot of really cool characters though. Like Klein himself is pretty interesting. Before I go on from Klein is from a different dimension. He's some other dude that I can't remember his name of right now, but he's from a different dimension and is now in the body of Klein, but still has the memories of Klein. So it's more like he was fused with Klein, and Klein was some history student of Professor Isaac Eggers, who that is a really cool character.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that's the point. Like that happens. That's the first thing that happens. You see him in this giant, like death-defying fight. He gets killed. Boom. He's in Klein's body. Then there's a little bit about that at the start, and then they just go way off in all these other directions, and very rarely even touch back on the fact that, oh yeah, he's supposed to be trying to get back to his dimension, which based on the imagery and stuff from when he became a seer is a more modern dimension as well.
Yeah, so I feel like that's where you're kind of playing into your like steampunk-ish vibe, whereas the worlds in which we're living now is just like your Victorian era.
Yeah, so it's kind of wild. You know, I really like Alger Wilson too. Is that the guy I think it is? Let me just double check here.
Is that the bad one? No, that's the Dick is the bad one.
No, Isaac's not the bad guy. Isaac is the professor who's got like crazy stuff going on. Where's this guy's name? Sorry, I missed. Ah, Mr. Neil.
Is that the one that we just
Old
said
Neil.
goodbye to?
Yeah, old Neil is dead. Dead as a doorknob. I did say spoilers.
Yeah.
I liked. He was
Flash.
kind of,
But it was interesting because he was almost like the mentor, right? And we were kind of like leaning on him to get like more information. But then I don't know, I feel like maybe I missed part of the start of the episode, but it just felt like they were gonna go and celebrate, and then next thing we know, he's off the deep end, transformed into some other being, and now we have to shoot him.
yeah, sorry. I'm trying to find the Rose guy.
The rose guy.
Maybe Leonard. Yeah, Leonard Mitchell. I really like him too. He's cool. I like his whole like we're both protagonists. Because I'm like, okay, he's gonna be something. I half expect him to be part of this like cultist organization thing that's going on. The nightmare power of the captain is kind of cool and interesting, but like I'm totally indifferent. I also love how what's her name? Chrissy? No.
Haley?
No. Yeah, Dolly. How she is like kind of like cheeky as hell, and she can just bring herself into anyone's vision and world and stuff. I kind of love that for her to be so like jokey and cheeky about everything. She's like, oh, your brother and sister will think you have a girl. Of course, I don't mind.
Are you sure you don't want us out of the
Beautiful.
room?
I kind of loved it.
It's
Klein's journey I feel like it's almost not happening. I feel like Klein's progression is a little bit too fast in a lot of ways.
Well, and it's kind of like the main progression that we're seeing is him like going up in the stages. It's not really, it's like you said, they haven't really circled back to him being from another world, and like, is he even trying to get back anymore, or is he just content in this current?
Well, I think he's determined that to get back, he needs to get stronger, and he needs to follow the Beyonder Power path to get strong enough to be back. And then there's this whole thing with the sun god blood and stuff like that. But it's like they bring so many different pathways in all the time that it's kind of weird to see him only half stick to a couple of them, and then some of the ones he's sticking to just don't seem like the blood of the deity. Like, why does, if you're like are you doing the Beyonder path, or are you going this way? You know, like, don't do like 30% of 3 different paths of how to get out there, and then like mildly pay attention to all these other things that are getting thrown your way, but also kind of ignoring them the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what is going on here? We can assume he still has the goal of getting back, but he doesn't seem to have a clear target.
Yeah, I don't think he knows what he wants to do.
And because of that, I can't really say there's been that much of a journey, except for fulfilling the Beyonder powers, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
I would say if you watched the first episode or two and you were to dissect his character and what his values are and what his characteristics are, and you were to do that again now, you're talking completely different people.
Yeah.
It's happened. However, it started really early. So because it started really early, we didn't really get to see Klein all that much before he immediately just started changing into the current.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of the mystery versus horror, I really think that they dial in more on, I think the aesthetic is horror, the vibe is mystery.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's been anything scary or about the storytelling or anything like that. Maybe the last episode with Neil a little bit. But I would say that there's been a pretty constant mystery.
Like a Sherlock vibe.
Yeah, there's constant undertone of what is going on. And part of that is because they're just throwing so many.
Definitely the mystery is on our part. What is actually happening?
Yeah, I mean, so far, I'd give it a power level of like 7,900. I want to give it an 8 or even higher maybe, but I can't until I know if this info dumping is actually leading somewhere for sure and not just kind of throwing shit at the fan.
No,
Yeah.
I would agree. I would put it around like a 7, close to an 8. Like even just for the animation alone, the story needs to be a little bit more clear because I have no clue what's going on.
No fucking idea what's going on.
I will say just a little side, the way that, because we're watching so many animes, the one thing that I always remind myself is this is the one that is tiptoeing on the verge of copywriting music. I always say that because I listen to a lot of soundtracks. There's some scores in this that are very similar to some scores from Harry Potter.
I mean, that's pretty cool, to be honest, at this point in the world. Snack of the week. I've been looking forward to this one. I was going to do this one last week, but someone made it so I had to. Is this a spice?
No, I think it's just a
So-
packet. Keep it.
Microwave.
But it's a microwave it?
I don't know. Well, we might be eating this entirely wrong.
Is this supposed to be warmed up?
You know what? I honestly don't know. I cannot read.
Can we?
Well, it is. Long story short.
It's supposed to be warmed up?
Oh, no, it says it's also yummy cold. Okay, so we're going to eat one each now, and then we'll steam them later because I want to try them both ways. They are steamed banana cakes made in Japan and individually packaged. I love banana, and I love bean buns. Oh, it's fluffy.
It smells very banana-y.
Like banana pudding. So nice and sweet, but not overly sugary. And it's moist. I really like this.
Yeah, so imagine you warm it up and it's like, sweetie.
We're gonna steam it. Okay.
The steamer.
That's a 10 out of 10. It's sweet enough to be considered a dessert, but also not so sweet that it couldn't just be like an afternoon snack or like a muffin. I've had chocolate chip muffins that are richer than.
The fluffiness is really so much of a muffin.
I've had sugary muffins to make you feel like, oh wow, I'm basically just eating cake right now. This is like
Very
mental regular muffin. I love it. That's delicious.
Recommend.
Okay, now we're going to My Dress Up Darling Season 2. Please start off with this one while I chew.
Because I've been binging so much. I actually enjoy this show quite a bit. I think it's just more around the conversation of cosplaying. And I found what really invested me into it was the fact that I don't know if this is standard in Japan and we just don't have this over here, but the fact that you can go into a cosplay shop and you can get wigs and makeup and accessories and props and costumes. Whereas here, we either are ordering it online to pay someone to make it custom, or, you know, we don't have those kind of shops that we can just go in and get all that stuff.
You kind of have to like parse and pick through what do I have available here, what can I get online, what can I like repurposing and figuring.
Yeah, thrift shop. But it's just for them to even have a booklet of this is how you do it.
It's
Like,
just a cosplay magazine. You could get that.
it's cool though.
I like the concept of using something like cosplay to show the evolving characters of the individuals like Mari and Gojo, but also their relationship together. It's so interesting to use that because it is such a popular but also niche and almost cliquey community to get into. Not that I've ever been in it, but I have had friends who are very into cosplay who've made lots of costumes and asked me to model for them before wearing said costumes. So I've done quite a few cosplay photo shoots in that capacity. I definitely cannot make them. I made one wig ever. It turned out fairly well, but I both wanted to kill each other.
That was a nightmare.
It would have helped if we had a better quality wig to start, regardless.
We didn't know what we were doing. We thought it was worth giving it a shot. Learn.
We almost gave more than just it a shot, being each other. I really think it's such a cool way to do that because in the moments where you can't directly be getting relationship advancements, you're getting these interesting little tidbits into this world that most people nowadays are kind of interested in, there's some intrigue around, but no one really knows how do I get in this? And like you said, it's such a big barrier of entry.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because it's not. It's actually the easiest barrier ever because the community is so welcoming and you could literally wear essentially nothing. You could just put a suit on and say, hey, I'm this character. And they'll be like, yeah, it looks sick, bro. But like most people want to go in and they're like, oh, I kind of want to do the crafting. I want to make it. I want to look as close as I can. Very similar to the monogoals with cosplay. A lot of people really wanted that. It's just such a big barrier of entry for that because you're right. There's so many trade secrets that people try to hold. There's not really one outlet. Honestly, if someone wants to make a multi-million-dollar business, that's where you go. Make a book series of the how-tos and stuff like that, like Guitar for Dummies, that kind of thing. And then create a shop too, where you can allocate everything, throw videos, throw how-to courses. Honestly, it makes so much money.
It's such a big market too. I feel the way in which society has changed over the last 15, 20 years is more and more people are getting into it. We're talking about it more, like fan expos, comic cons are a really, really big thing now. And it's not just nerdy to do it. Everybody is doing it now. And so it's just more and more people are talking about it. So my hope long term is that these little shops are going to be more popular.
I'll be honest. Unfortunately,
like
the only thing you're going to have to do is look into magazines, look into YouTube videos, buy some stuff, really try it. Because that's the biggest thing that I think stops most people is simply just the trying it. I'm a classic person in the way that I'm a jack of all trades. I like to try things and then I leave them and then I'll come back to them eventually. But for the most part, I learn a lot of skills a little bit. So, you know, I wanted to practice woodworking during COVID. So I made a table. It took a long time, a lot of work, a lot of mess ups, but I haven't done any woodworking since. You know what I mean? Or, you know, I've got this 3D printer. I'm 3D printing things from my Magic the Gathering game. I have a guitar, I have a piano, I have all these instruments and I know how to play all of them at least a bit. So I find regardless of what the skill is, it's really just about jumping in and trying it. People are afraid to do it in a way where you can see early success tends to cost money and inexpensive materials and a lot of time, and people, including yourself, just kind of need to
jump in and go for it.
Like not everyone has a dojo. Usually you start off as a Mari and, you know, you got all the skills or you got all the looks. It's usually not both.
It's definitely a team effort. Like that's probably one of the biggest roadblocks. You either are buying it or you're making it, and a lot of people don't have the skill or the confidence to jump in and make it. And
Just
I
gotta
feel like
try.
that's fun of it.
I
Like,
agree.
getting together with some friends and working together
Well,
on a cosplay.
part of the reason this isn't filled with a bunch of anime statues is because I want anime statues that I'm more invested in. I don't want to buy something just for it to look cool. I'd rather 3D print myself a statue and then paint it. I'm fucking terrible at painting. No one wants me to paint anything. You don't even want me to put face paint on somebody. I'll somehow screw up a clown nose.
Look, you painted a PlayStation controller.
Leave me alone. The point is, it's just about going in and trying. And
Okay.
sometimes you fail, but
Yeah.
it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
I do think that season 2 is freaking slow.
It does feel slower.
Holy sm-
Yeah.
I really liked season 1. It was charming. It grabbed my attention. There was a really good balance between individual character growth and the romantic relationship. And also them learning about cosplay was fun. Whereas this season, it seems like a very slow continuation of what was already happening. I don't feel like there's really been any movement.
There's
at
no
all.
progress, no. It feels-
Static.
yeah, it feels the same. There's been no character development. It's just kind of they're friends. Is it
Well-
going to be more? Who knows?
Yeah, and I think part of that is because they really only worked on one costume so far. I do like
Yeah.
that they're touching on the whole dieting thing now with Maureen and stuff like that, and like how easy it is to go over and like how that makes people feel or reflects them and blah, blah, blah. Curious. I want to see how they tackle it fully.
I want to see how they're going to tackle it because it just felt like it was shoved in your face that just in one episode. That 24-minute episode, it was just, you're fat and you have to lose because she's a model, right? So she has to lose weight by summer for bathing suit season. And it's just like, where did this come from?
I do like that they took a bit of a twist on it too, in the sense of making her not super upset about it in the classic way, but more upset about it in the way it's like, oh, these costumes that I love, I can't wear anymore. Now, they made it personal for her rather than being like, oh, someone's saying I'm fat and I gotta lose weight. I think they're approaching it in a relatively positive way, as much as they do just straight up be like, bro, you're chunky.
Well, I really liked Gojo's response to it. He's like, I can alter it for you
Yeah.
so that she doesn't have to go on a diet. But she was very much like, I have to go on a diet.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like for herself and her own reasons. She didn't get hung up on what other people were saying about her. It's for herself and for her own reasons she wants to do these adjustments. The art, the animation, things like that, I think it's staying consistent. I really like this. It's a small step above what I would consider a regular background anime, being that background anime is something I really don't want to just sit down and watch. This one, I would sit down, and especially season 1, I did find myself sitting down and really enjoying it. But I just feel like I'm waiting for something to happen in season 2. You know, the different costumes brought their relationship closer. It showed you more about Maureen. It showed you more about Gojo. The costumes were events in season 1. And the only event, and maybe this is why, in season 2, we've only had the one costume, and there really wasn't much of an event between Gojo. There was between Gojo and the rest of the class.
Yes.
And that was kind of charming. I really liked just seeing that, like seeing that little bit of growth in Gojo, but I just feel like there hasn't been enough happening. I do really like how they've been touching on the gender swapping characters. Or like
Yes.
not gender swapping characters, but men playing women and women playing men.
Yes.
I'm sure they will do the opposite at some point too, where they will just be like, I want to be Cinderella, let's make him a man.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but I thought that was cool. I think it was well handled. It was very interesting. Brought in some more characters that Gojo could relate with and stuff like that too. I really like the show. I just need something to happen.
No, 100%. I agree. It's very stagnant. Like something, I'm not saying like anything dramatic needs to happen, but like something needs to happen.
Yeah, like season 1, nothing really all that dramatic happened either,
No.
right? It was just kind of like
What's the next
they
costume?
use the costumes as a way to like either pull the group relationship closer together or see growth in the individual characters. The writer did so well of that. I'm wondering if like, is that the only method they have to really get growth? And is that why we've only seen one costume in 8 episodes? And because of that, we don't really have any growth because there's only been one costume and that's our driving factor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, we're only 8 episodes in. I mean, it's a standard run of like 20 through 24 or.
Honestly, don't know. But while I find out, why don't you give it a power level?
Oh gosh.
I think it's 12 episodes.
12 episodes?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. So I think it might be a bit of a weak season 2 on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. If there's only 12 episodes, it's a weak season.
What are you giving it so far?
Season 2, I'll probably put it around like a 5-6 mark. Like it's good.
1,000? Over 9,000 is the best you can go. Don't forget our power scale.
Right. Thousands, yes. But I think that there's definitely a lot of room for growth and improvement.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6,500. And I'll be honest, at least 500 of that is from season 1. Like, I really do like the concept. I really do see the potential for the show. Like, it's never going to be grandstanding. It's never going to be amazing. But I feel like it should be able to run at a solid 7,000, 7,500, somewhere around there based on season 1. And I feel like if we can get back to that, it's going to be good. I feel like worst case scenario, season 2 is a bit of a bomb. And then as long as they get back to it, the show can redeem itself for sure. Can the show survive 2 seasons of this pacing? I don't think so. I'd love it to, but I don't think so.
No, I think that if they're going to go for a 3rd or even a 4th season, they're really going to have to pick it up and find something more.
Okay, guys, that's it for this week. Highly, highly recommend you check out Lord of Mysteries. Let me know what you think. Please, if you know what the hell's going on, enlighten me.
Let us know.
My Dress Up Darling season 2. If you haven't watched it, definitely go to season 1 before you try ticking on season 2. I'm sure you will love it, especially if you have any interest in cosplay. And we will see you next week.